SHOT Show 2023 recap. Post. Pin. All right. Okay. Let's see if this thing works. It looks like it do. All right. Welcome, everybody, to a live stream. I haven't been doing a ton of these due to being quite busy, plus being banned here and there. But we're going to talk about SHOT Show. I got back a couple days ago or yesterday, or my days were all messed up. And there's some really exciting things about SHOT Show to talk about. And not very many disappointing things, actually, believe it or not. Originally, I was planning on filming a 10-minute video that I would, on my phone, kind of script out some of the products that we saw that were interesting, and then edit up a little video with B-roll showing each thing. But that's a lot of work. A live stream also allows me to answer y'all's questions directly. So I figured, hey, we'll just do a live stream instead, get it out that way. I think Isaac's working on a YouTube video that he's going to be publishing with his thoughts, but his are going to be a little different than mine. He was able to run around a little bit more. I was in meetings all of Wednesday, a bunch of most of Thursday, left Friday, so I pretty much only had Tuesday to run around. How much do you charge for training? Not teaching right now. I pretty much only do like 2 classes a year, and that's for like very specific people I want to work with. Say hello. Now, are you going to go eat blankets that I have to take from you? Yeah, I bet you will. Go get that fake stick over there. Go get it. Yeah. So, first things first, Hollow Sun. It was one of the first booths that we hit on Tuesday. And they obviously had that thermal red dot that you guys saw. I think my video has like 700,000 views or something insane that I put up. I think I was one of the first pages to put that up. And there's some people saying it's really cool or interesting, and then other people who are saying, stupidest thing ever, it's so Hollow Sun. I think the interesting thing with the Hollow Sun Thermal is it is going to propel other companies. Now, I don't necessarily think that Hollow Sun Thermal thing is going to be any good at all. In fact, it probably won't be good for another probably 3 years from, or so. But what it will do at the price point of a little over $2,000 is push other companies, if a thermal red dot is even a good product. I'm not convinced that that is. Versus like a clip-on, you could move in the front or move to magnified optics and things like that. But it is good as far as progressing other companies in the industry, and I like that. I like that a lot. I like competitiveness and competition. So it was very cool. They had a small red dot that was a little bit larger, think an SRO, but a little bigger, that could still be mounted to a standard pistol. I thought that was cool. It looked really nice, and that was about it. And then I got accosted by Chris Costa. Let's see what I did there. And then we talked for a few minutes, and he thanked me for carrying on the torch. I actually thought that was pretty cool, since he and Haley were the ones that got me into this 10 years ago. So that was a fun little conversation at the beginning of the day. So there was that product. Hey, Freya and Artemis. Freya. Please, now is not the best time to be fighting. Yes, thank you. So, yeah, both of them are now like doing things. So the Hollow Sun was interesting, that's for sure. And then we kept running around on the floor. M&P has a 5.7 now. Personally, I don't think that gun was intriguing. I went and looked at it. However, and this is where you need to apply your mind to when new products are coming out, because it's not about the product. It's about sending a message. 5.7 is becoming a thing again. Now, I think there's some interesting things that could happen. More 5.7 PDWs. And I talked to another company, I don't know if I should say who it is, who confirmed they were working on a 5.7 PDW. So it would seem like the demand for 5.7 is going up to a point that we're going to see subgun manufacturing being done, PDW manufacturing being done for citizens, which is cool if you like 5.7. If some of the Gucci rounds were more legal, I think that would be pretty cool. But I'm not real sure about that. But the fact that everyone is coming out with a 5.7 pistol is just going to drive ammo manufacturing, which is then going to drive people to want other guns to go with their 5.7s. The natural customer progression is going to be they buy a pistol that's in 5.7, then they want a sub gun. Well, they don't want an AR with a P90 on the top, P90 mag, or a P90, so then they look for something else that's mag-fed, MP7 style, and I'm sure people are going to be making those. So that's kind of cool if you're interested in an MP7 that is not HK and not 4.6. So there was that. That's for sure. But obviously, I'm not a big 5.7 type person personally. Once again, just so you all know, the chat is delayed about 5 minutes. That's how many comments are coming in, because they set a delay for each message so I can read them, which means I'm not going to get to questions in a timely fashion. That's just how it is. I did not get a chance to check out Mystery Ranch. I do see this one though, but that was 5 minutes ago. We had a team of 10 with us. Everyone split up. Isaac went around and did stuff. I was with the vendor relations team. Our T&E guys ran off and talked to different companies. There was one thing in particular that stood out to me, because I went and met with our AAA vendors that we work with, EOTech, Aimpoint, some rifle companies and whatnot. And the main product, this is going to be, after you hear this, you could just close out of the live stream, because I'm skipping to the last point, because there's not much other products to talk about, let's be honest. But the number one product at SHOT this year was the change in culture in AAA companies finally making their products for citizens. Wilcox, EOTech's got a laser that they're making Civ class. That was their goal all along, believe it or not. There were a number of rifle companies. LMT's contract submissions for the MRGGSs and some other guns out there are being made. Hey, Artemis? 9. Are being made for civilians, which 5 years ago would not have been the case. Companies would have been like, oh no, it's a contract-only gun. We're not going to make it for you peasants. And then you would have to pick one up on the unobtainium market for like $20,000. Artemis, go lay down. I'm about to put Freya in her cage. I'm like this close to putting her in the crate. So that was the number one change that I saw. It started last year primarily with SIG, believe it or not, releasing the Spear, a contract prototype military gun to the public. I also heard rumor they were going to make their belt-fed machine gun semi-auto as well. So SIG was one of the, started to happen last year, but I'm seeing a lot more now, companies going straight to commercial. One of the most interesting meetings was with Wilcox, and they're coming out with all their products in civilian class. So, boom, that's super cool. And they're primarily and historically a government-only skunkworks type company. Artemis, that's enough. Go lay down. Come say hello. Go lay down. Thank you. So, was anyone questioning agents? I saw a number of people running around. Well, I saw it on Instagram later, going and showing them infographics and things like that. So I thought that was funny. I should be watching a football game? Absolutely not. After this, I'm probably going to play The Last of Us 1, which just finished downloading 10 minutes ago, because we started watching the show, and I probably need to play the first game because I started playing the second game, didn't finish it, and probably need to go back and play the first. Plus, it's interesting and fun and cool. Yeah, skipping to the good stuff. Yeah, that's right. It's 5 minutes delayed, whatever. L3, yes, rumor has it there's a civilian class Ingall. FYI, just so you guys know, it's going to be probably $3,500, which is pretty expensive, but it should have similar technology to the Maul with VCSEL-type lasers. So it'll be about the same. The Wilcox civilian class will also be in that $3,500 range. The EOTech laser, on the other hand, let's talk about that. That is the one product right now that I am most looking forward to, primarily because all the $3,000 lasers that are on the market right now, the Maul, the Raid XE, the the Ingall, whenever it comes out, are cool, but they're all over $3,000. The EOTech is going to be a little over $2,000, and it has VCSEL technology in it. Playing with the controls, it's a solid laser unit. Takes crane plugs, doesn't take Ingall plugs. I have not seen the output, but if it has VCSEL technology in it, it should be comparable to lasers like the Raid, like the civilian class Ingall, whenever that comes out, because there's a limit to what those lasers can do before they hit full power. So if everyone goes to the ceiling, then it just comes into form factor, intuition of the device, the warranty behind it, and the cost. So a $2,000 laser that's doing this amount of technology, just like everyone else, is going to be very impressive. And so I should be playing with one pretty soon here, but I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, so I'm going to shut up now. But yeah, looking forward to that quite a bit. Can we see the doggies? Possibly. New ScalarWorks mounts. So I did have a good meeting with them. They have some very good stuff right now. They have some cool stuff in the works. But they do. They have that EOTech mount that takes the EOTech taller. They've got an ACOG mount. I need to be careful what I say here. But they have 193 backups, which I actually think are pretty cool because, you know, if you're running a 193, historically you don't have backups for that. Now, how many people are wanting to run backups with their 193 aim point? I don't know, but I find it interesting nonetheless. Doing any work with shadow systems? I can either confirm or deny. Possibly, possibly not. Who knows? At this point, here's the deal though, guys. At this point, anything's possible. We're expanding the company. We've got room for 600 new SKUs in our new warehouse. We were there specifically to find new products and talk to existing companies to see if they can make new products. In fact, I'm going to let you all in on a secret thing that I did while I was there. And they don't know this, but I'll tell you all. I went, like the government, I went to 3 rifle manufacturers, and I asked them all to make the same thing. Like the government, right? Because the government, here's what the government does. I want to let you all in on a secret. A military unit will send out or like a representative. We'll talk to a nylon company and say, we need a fanny pack. And then they go tell this unit, we need a fanny pack. And then they'll tell another one, we need a fanny pack. And then little do you know, 5 companies all come out with a fanny pack at the same time with the same specs, the same requirements, and they all claim that they copied each other. So I did something similar because I thought if it works for the government and it works for the industry, then I'm going to do it too. I went to 3 different rifle manufacturers and I said, hey, you make a budget AR-10, a $1,400 7.62 basic AR-10 with a non-free float handguard, or maybe it has a free float handguard, and it's boring. It's black. It's a boring 308 gun. And I said, hey, what if you made a M110 clone with a quad rail, with like an 18-inch barrel, 16-inch barrel, like whatever, doesn't matter, 20-inch, whatever. Do a quad rail, make it tan, and it'll be sub $2,000. And stonks will do this. So I went to 3 different companies without them knowing. I told them all the same thing, and we're going to see who comes out with one. But the first company to make one, I will buy one. I will shoot it because I would love to see a budget 308 what are you doing? A budget 308 come out with a quad rail that's a little bit more robust, isn't one of these like competition-y looking guns or like with a slick rail on the top, in flat dark earth, and then see people take them out and shoot them. Stainless barrels, maybe, stuff like that. I think that could be pretty cool. So I kind of did a little bit of that, a little bit of influencing, because that's the kind of influence that helps the community, not some shill crap. And I wasn't asking them, hey, make it for us to sell or make it for just me. It was like, hey, why don't you make this and sell it to the public? It will probably sell because nobody's done it. So throwing them a bone and we'll see what happens. But I think it'd be pretty cool, and I would definitely shoot one. Budget 308 gun with quad rails and stuff in FDE. So I had multiple agendas for being at SHOT Show this year, not just like meetings and like making money or anything. So okay, flip out guns. Yeah. So there's 2 companies that I know of Magpul/Zev. Magpul's going to have Zev sell it so they can cover all the FFL compliance stuff. And the other company, crap, what's their name? You just said them. B&T are making the suitcase pistols that are about this big, and they fold out into a PDW. Cool. If this is 2009, I don't see a huge purpose for them. Also, Chris, I saw your message earlier. I appreciate it. I'm going to shoot you an email back. I wish I had gotten more time with you, talking to you Tuesday night. So, what was I about to say? I was just saying something. Shoot. That thought just came to me after seeing that comment 10 minutes ago. Oh, yeah, the little box guns. So, what do you want? There's a bone over there. Go get one. Go get the bone. She wants a blanket to suck on. So, box guns, the little thing. I think they're pretty useless. Personally, I think they're pretty dumb. Use case is very minimal. If anyone knows what they are if anyone knows what they're looking at, they know it's a gun, right? So I still think it's kind of it's cool. It's a conversation piece, but you can't really mount optics or lights to them very easily. I just don't think it's that. I just don't think it's that practical. Now, the price point on a couple of them was pretty good. I don't know what I'm allowed to say because I don't know how much of things they told me that I shouldn't tell other people. I'm not even on NDAs with them. I just play it safe. But the price points weren't horrible, so that was good. All right, fast track, because I saw a comment, but this was a while ago. PSA. I went to their booth on Wednesday. They had a lot of really cool stuff, believe it or not. You'd buy it. You see, here are the comments now for the M110s. Cool. So, PSA had a new line of rifles, the Saber line. Not a fan of the name, but what was really cool about them is they had a rifle with a 13.7 FN barrel, which is pretty rad. I think that might be the first one made by FN for that company, unless they've done some for some others I don't know about. They had a bunch of good upgrades put into those rifles, very reasonable upgrades, minus the Radian Talon safety. I just don't like the Talon safety. Hey, Freya, that is the... we use that for protecting the couch from Artemis sleeping on it. Please don't chew on it. Please go chew on a bone instead. There's a plethora of bones in here. So, and now she goes right back to it. Fine, I'll buy another one. So, PSA, so the Saber line, good upgrades. They had quad rails. Believe it or not, quad rails on these, mainstream $1,000 guns. They're making them in 5 different lengths. So there's lots of different options for the quad rails. And all these guns are around $1,000 or less. Impressive. The amount of upgrades, the barrels, the rails from PSA. It's their Saber line. I was impressed. The engineer gave me about 30 minutes of his time. I also vet a lot of companies based on their people. He was very charismatic. He was extremely energetic and excited, and I appreciate that because a lot of people at SHOT Show are not that. Now, granted, on Friday after 4 days, I get it, but this was Wednesday. But he was just a very energetic, happy guy, and then some of the other guys at PSA's booth I was just very impressed with. You can tell a lot about a company by the people representing them, the employees that they've selected, right? That's how you can tell a lot about a company. And I don't think very many people take that into consideration when they go into a booth to talk to someone. But that's a huge deal who you bring to publicly represent your company. So PSA actually was, they were killing it. They also had that retro line, didn't look at it. I was more interested in the Saber rifles and spent all of my time talking to them about that. I also feel like this year is the year of the AK. I need to talk about this real quick. Midwest and PSA and I think one other company are now all making Zentico parts, which is cool because there's no way anyone's getting Zentico anytime soon with what's going on in Europe. Basically modernized, Russian-looking folding stocks, 4Ns, direct clones, but made in America, 22R compliant, if that ever matters ever again, and made in America. So that's pretty cool. I like having more options, but again, AKs suck. Just kidding. They're okay, but yeah, they suck. So, no, yeah, they kind of suck. But so I feel like this year might be the year of the AK. Based on who's making AKs, I've heard PSAs are pretty good, and the aftermarket parts that are coming out made in America, so that's pretty cool. And yes, I just saw a comment, which this was 5 minutes ago, whatever. 13.7s, I did talk to a number of manufacturers, and I feel like 13.7 and 13.9 will be much bigger this year than they were before because of the brace SBR stuff going on. There's going to be a lot of companies that just opt for that, a lot of consumers that opt for that versus taking the risk of owning an AR pistol or waiting a year for an SBR. So that is just how it is. But I don't know. Quad rails are antiquated. No, you are. Okay, I partially agree. On some guns, though, I prefer having a quad rail. On DMRs that are going to get a laser on the side to make room for a clip-on, quad rails are the way. So that's just how it is. But I will also say when a rifle company makes a gun with a quad rail, they are absolutely leaning into rifles that are more military-style rifles. I'll give you an example, and it really ticks me off. SIG. Why are they making a consumer-grade AR with a slick top rail? You can't put anything on there. You can't mount pressure switches. If you want to mount a laser, good luck. That's not going to happen. It's just stupid. We need to get rid of that. It's a neutered AR with very limited capability in the future should you need to do anything to that gun and build it out for certain activities. So quad rails are very based in that it's absolutely a militaristic type, not attachment, furniture option for a rifle. So when a firearms company makes quad rail ARs, they're not shying away from what ARs are intended to be. And I actually advised one company to do that to help their image here at SHOT while I was there. And I said, hey, make a gun with a quad rail. You don't even have to make that many because they won't sell as much as the M-LOK ones, but it will show that you guys are serious and will make basically an M4A1, like an actual combat gun. So I think from a public perception, PR move, having a quad rail option really helps companies who already have problem with the PR side on that. Again, this is 4D culture chess, not, you don't buy a quad rail if you don't want one, but there's a good reason to sell a quad rail gun for PR. So, let's see, what else? I have notes from meetings that I cannot divulge. Not that one. Definitely not the... Oh, yeah, I didn't take notes in that one. Or not the... Hey, what's up? Oh, no. You want to eat this paper? She's like, oh, something I can eat. Surefire. Oh, good news about Surefire. Yeah. Good news. Surefire. She was just staring. So Surefire. Let me get those chips out of the way. Dirty bulk, They, and I can't tell the entire story, but the turbo lights, rifle turbo lights, are finally coming out. They have given us a time frame in the next couple months, so that's cool. But they upped the candela again. They've upped the candela now twice in the process of R&D. She's trying to steal the blanket next to me. In the process of R&Ding the lights, they were able to boost the candela on the lights. So the big boy turbo is now 100,000 candela, which is on par with the new Cloud Light. Which is on par with the new Cloud Light. And the small one, I think, was 75,000, something like that. But the best part, we're going to have to test this. The big boy turbo light, so it's an 18650. Freya? When you put two CR123s inside of it, because it's a dual fuel, it does not reduce output. Now, I'll have to confirm it. That's what they told me, which is very impressive, because normally dual fuel lights, when you add two CR123s, drop about 10%, typically speaking. So, that's super cool. They sent me home a couple, I've had prototypes, but they sent me 2 new ones. We're going to photograph them because we're going to be selling it, and then I'm going to get to using them, but it's very cool. Very cool indeed. All right. Sure fire. Yeah, Artemis, hey, you good dog. You want to come say hello? You want to come over here and say hello? Go around. Go around. Go around. Or not, that's fine. Can't talk about them. Can't talk about them. Can't talk about them. Yeah, no. JK Armament had a new shotgun suppressor. Sword International has some really cool guns. I looked at those. Arsenal. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, so that's it. That's everything from SHOT Show, everyone. Okay, I'll look for questions and try to think if I think of anything else. Oh yeah, there was another one. So culturally, not only is the industry changing, where big gun companies, not little ones, big ones, see the importance of selling to the citizens, right? The consumer market. I also saw a lot less influencer stuff, a lot less shills and people running around, talking to companies and whatnot. Now, part of it might have been I was in conference rooms a little bit inside the booths and in meetings and stuff, so I wasn't out on the floor quite as much. But I talked to a few other people, and I had breakfast with a marketing. I didn't even realize it at the time. I was having breakfast with someone else, and he's sitting there, and it turns out he runs marketing for like 10 different companies. So we got to chatting about the state of marketing, and he basically affirmed my theory that influencer-based marketing was going away in the gun industry. Back in 2019, 2018, it was kind of at its height. Instagram was new. People with 100,000 followers were pretty new, and companies were just throwing money out there, giving guns to folks, and then they realized, the return on investment of working with these people and tying our brands to theirs isn't actually working. So there's a lot less of that going on right now, which I think is a good thing, personally. I've never wanted to go that direction for our company. The ROI is pretty bad. The risk is extremely high working with people directly like that. Partnerships are different with other companies or brands, but with individual people who just have an Instagram, like that is literally that is what they're known for. It's not always very great. So there's a lot less of that now than there was. I think that was one of the things that made SHOT more enjoyable and more productive feeling. Like it actually felt like a trade show, like for business and not just a bunch of influencer debauchery. So then again, I'm kind of anti that whole thing anyway, and always have been, and I get a lot of crap for that, but whatever. So it is what it is. The EOTechs, I'm pretty sure they're green, yes. Thoughts on all the closed emitter optics? I think they're great. More competition to the 509 and the aim point? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's face it, at this point, I thought about this the other day. If I shoot a Glock with a red dot, but it has no other upgrades, I can say it's a stock Glock, right? I think I can. I think red dots are now counted as stock. And I'm going to say that. It's the red dots on pistols is the new stock. What I would quantify as not stock is modified triggers, weights added to the gun, like tungsten guide rods, lighter recoil springs, compensators. Those are actual upgrades to the gun. A red dot still constitutes as stock in my book. And I think we need to start seeing it as that. I haven't actually seen people, because I've done some videos recently with the Glock 17, and I say stock Glock, because it is. I haven't seen people freaking out saying, well, it has a red dot, and it has skate tape. And it's like, yeah, that's skate tape I put on myself, and I don't have any internals that is making the gun run better. So I feel like still a stock pistol if all it has on it is a red dot and nothing else has been done. No accurized barrel, stuff like that. So I don't know. I think that's a culture thing that we're going to start seeing, and maybe if not soon enough, we make it. We force it. So stock, red dots are stock, everyone. As they all kind of work the same. Haley dropped or redropped the NCOG. It looks the same as what it did normally. I know they keep saying it's different, but I have yet to touch one and play with it, but it looks similar. It looks very similar to the old Incog, which was not a bad holster. I just don't see a miraculous change in design, personally. But who knows? I didn't handle one. I talked to Haley on my way out. Gave him a congrats on the holster, because that's a big deal, bringing that holster back and having it made by another company. So it's pretty cool. Low vis and non-promiscuous environments gear. Yeah, I know, right? It's pretty interesting. I actually didn't see a lot of low vis stuff this year, believe it or not. That was a big thing back in 2020. I think there was a ton of low vis stuff. The big push this year was long range. Well, and you also see what you want to see, right? It's a psychological thing, but the MRGGAS contract, at least the companies I was running around talking to, that was kind of the thing, was these DMR gas gun contracts that Geisley, LMT, Sword, all these other FN, all these companies competed for, seemed to be like the thing this year. I could be wrong. There could be other stuff, but it's the year of the 2011, the DMR. I don't really think low vis is kind of the thing. And I didn't really meet with nylon companies, actually, this year. I was kind of, I guess I went to Eagle, but I didn't really see a lot of nylon folks. So, and night vision. Sorry. Night vision. There were a lot of night vision advancements. I didn't get to run around and look at all of them. I saw a lot of posts, but Nocturnality and a bunch of these other companies have tons of new housing options, panos that can articulate. Like, night vision stuff's incredible right now. I have a friend who just made a new thing. I don't think I can talk about it yet. That's pretty cool. I haven't used it yet, but I've looked at it and I understand the context. There's a lot of new stuff coming out in the night vision world too, which I think is great. And then thermal, there's some new thermal stuff. Pixels had two new things, which I didn't look at, but I'm going to order whichever one is the most expensive. Now, I'd rather have that than a Ferrari, to be honest. But it's their long-range thermal. I'm going to get one for my Seekins. Oh, Glock had a trigger. Didn't even touch it. Didn't look at it. I don't even know if they're selling it as a drop-in. I think it just comes in a gun. Yeah, it was nice meeting you as well. If you work at Magpul, don't worry, I'm keeping my mouth shut. I just don't know what I'm allowed to say. So I'm playing it safe. Please bank long range with Dawson. Yes, I got to spend, I will say this, I got to spend about 2.5 hours talking to Joe of Bruiser Industries. Much cooler guy in person. You don't usually hear that said about people. They're a lot cooler online than they are in person. Joe is really great to talk to in person. And I'm not just saying that because we had breakfast and stuff, but he's a solid... honestly, I like his candid approach to the industry, training, guns, and things. He's not here to play the game, which I appreciate. He's not trying to shill. He's not trying to make the most money he can make. He's not trying to be friends with everyone. He's not saying that everything is great, which means nothing is. He's very objective and is willing to say what needs to be said and say it like it is. And I really respect that about him. So I would like to spend more time with him. He's on a short list of people that I'd like to spend more time with this year, and I think we'll be doing that. So great, much better in person than on Instagram, believe it or not. You don't hear that about that many people, but he's pretty cool. You feel more welcome on the industry now. Oh yeah. Now. Oh, well, in general, so actually, Joe and I talked about that. From 2017 to 2019, it was very hard for me in the industry because we were still too young to have credibility. Plus, I also looked like 2 months younger than I am now. I was good at shooting then, but everyone was kind of skeptical. They were like, oh, it's all sped up. And there was just a bunch of weird stuff, 2017 to 2019. But then from 2019 to 2022, and now going to SHOT Show, T-Rex is a pretty solidified company at this point. Going and meeting with large companies that had nice things to say about us and want to work with us, it just solidifies what we bring to the table. Our marketing, the the influence that we have on the market, our understanding of where it's going. I mean, a number of these companies asked for our opinion or my opinion on what's happening in the consumer space. And so I gave them that because I would love them to move in that direction. And so and this comes from you guys support us in a way that elevates us to that, that level of influence that we can then take into meetings with companies like EOTech, Aimpoint, some big rifle companies I won't mention. That's a big deal, that we could go in there and be like, hey, we really think you all should think about doing this because of this over here. And they listen because they've seen our sales. They see what we can do for them. They see our marketing. They see, the influence that we have, and then change can happen. So at this point, we are pretty solidified as far as that goes. With that said, YouTube on Monday, once we arrived in Vegas, put out, I guess, a memo that they were going to start regulating videos with 30-round magazines going into the magazine well as modifying the gun, and putting a suppressor on the gun as modifying the gun. So what this means is they're going to be passing out, or supposedly passing out, strikes to everyone's videos that feature 30-round mags and suppressors is bad for TOS. I talked to Grand Thumb some about it at dinner the last night, and it's not great, guys. It's really not great. So we might be changing our strategy. In fact, the entire gun industry might have to be changing their strategy as far as utilizing YouTube for marketing in the near future. But I don't know yet. Having some meetings tomorrow at work about it, and then I'm trying to call some people and find out what's going on. But our content, we may have to basically use our YouTube for more entertainment content, and then utilize our website for our training, political type stuff. Because but we have. So what's funny is I actually drew a funnel. Basically, we have a marketing strategy that's the funnel of radicalization or customer education. Radicalization is what it is. It's a funnel of directing people who find our brand through all of our different platforms, and based on how far the funnel gets down is based on how radical our messaging becomes. So at the top is YouTube, the second is Instagram, and my Twitch was there. The third is our website. The fourth are our newsletters and our podcasts. The fifth is in person, and the sixth is working for us, basically. So we have this funnel that's already like a thing that I made a couple of years ago. Just kind of threw it up and said, hey, this is what we're doing already, but this is kind of the strategy. But the top end of the funnel for YouTube may have to be even more top end as far as entertainment, video game type stuff, and not like, hey, here's a gun review, because that may not be allowed on YouTube anymore. So we'll see. We're still going to play around with that and see what's going on. I'm not real sure. How that's going to affect everything. Are you getting the Ferrari? No, I'm not getting no. And Kara and I already agreed we will not get a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. If we go and buy a supercar, it will be a not the brand that people pretending to be rich go and buy. Okay, sorry. Ferraris and Lambos, right? Those are like the classic, someone just won the lottery, that's what they buy. I want to go buy something a little more on the edge and less popular, like an Aston Martin or something, or something cool, or an Audi. Not a Lambo or Ferrari. We like owning things that other people don't, and she agreed. So at this point, we're not buying a Ferrari or a Lambo. Instead, I'm going to buy a McLaren that's $800,000. No, just kidding. No. But we're not doing that. We also have other things we want to buy before we buy any cars, so we're just going to wait. We got some tithing to do and stuff. We're not with cars. No. We're not going to do that. Someday maybe, but I don't think so. So yeah, any 3D printed guns. That would be more of a question for Isaac. He was looking for stuff like that. I was not. At all. So yeah, my wife is texting me. This is why I have two phones. I can see it. Okay, good. She found a thing. Excellent. Good. Did Daniel have a change of attitude? So I never got to their booth. But funny, But while I was at dinner with Grand Mike, I see this guy, and I'm like, he looks familiar. He really does, but I can't place him. And then later, today, I was on my phone, and I was like, oh, that was Marty Daniel. I said, I had no idea. But, yeah, he was at the steak place we were at. But no, I didn't check out their booth. But Daniel's kind of weird, though, because I kind of talked about it earlier. Gun companies are starting to sell more commercially. Daniel always has. So that's actually points in their favor. I mean, they're Mark 12s, they're Mark 18s, they're SOP mods. Like, they've been selling all that to the consumer market already. So props to Daniel for that, unlike other companies that refuse to do that. No, I don't know what their attitude towards everything in general. I don't know what that's like. Oh, I will say another cultural thing I noticed, and Daniel actually, the advertising for SHOT Show that people were paying for ads on the app, and I'm sure Isaac's talking about this in his video, in the app and in the brochures, had a ton of NFA stuff, a ton of good product. Daniel defense, it annoyed the crap out of me when you would open the stupid SHOT Show app, it would flash an ad for their new suppressor. But a suppressor, not, some fuddy mossy oak shotgun. So that's cool. The industry is definitely evolving and definitely changing. Hurricane Butterfly posted a thing about that. But that's been very cool to see. So, and Daniel's not afraid to show that. So that's, again, points in their favor. It's very cool. Then again, all they make is military-style guns. So I guess they have a bull gun now, but whatever. So, yeah. Are there any positions open for the 6 low? I don't know what that is. So, don't give in to the YouTube. Yeah, easy to say when you don't have a 1.3 million sub channel and it can get nuked like that. So, we have to be wise about our approach. It does the community no good if we just martyr ourselves and I post a video next week shoving a 30-round mag into every gun, B-roll that's an hour long, and title it, Sandy Hook gun or something. That doesn't do the community any good. So, no, we have to be smart and wise. But, yeah, not a fan of what YouTube's doing, obviously. So, it is what it is. I took a low-light course, and it wasn't easy. Any tips for low-light strategy? Honestly, I think most of the low-light strategy stuff out there is pretty lame. Ish. I mean, ultimately what this comes down to is take a tactics class in the day. Okay, in the day, focus on that, separate from shooting guns, and then integrate in white lights as you see fit. I've taken low light classes. I've taken CQB daylight classes. There's not a lot that's different. But the main thing I see people get choked up on is not being able to activate the tools that they have fast enough, quick enough, consistent enough, and being able to turn them off quickly as well. So get that down. So activating your rifle, have an intuitive setup. So when your brain says, I need light, the light turns on. When you go, I need the light to be off, it turns off. Pistol, same thing. Focus on that, and then tactically, based on the scenario, use the tools appropriately. But I think the mistake most people make is they just suck running white light to shoot with. So forget going into a tactical setting with bad use of tools. That's just asking for trouble. And I can say this for myself. I don't shoot pistol white light enough. I'm quite good shooting white light rifle and nods rifle, but that's actually pretty easy. But yeah, focus on your tool work first. That has to come first. Otherwise, you're pretty much screwed. Trichicon or Holosun? Trichicon is a Christian-based company in America. Holosun does not appear to be. So my money's going to Trichicon. They still put verses on their optics. We just started selling the MRO HD, and they've got Psalm something. I can't remember the reference on there. Really like that. I think it's super cool. They obviously had to take them off of the military issue optics, which is because the military, it's all about that kind of thing. But really, really like Trichicon as a company. And I got to spend quite a bit of time with them this year. So I weigh 114 pounds. Soaking wet. Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. Yeah, sure. Why not? Thoughts on what the gun community will look like in the next few years? Definitely more militant. Based on SHOT Show, based on, where politics and culture is going, I think it'll be a lot more militant than it is already. Exactly what that looks like, I don't know. There was one thing I was thinking about today. There's not a lot of shooting content being produced anymore. And I know it sounds weird, but when you look at the kind of content Instagrammers are making now compared to 2019, there is very little shooting of guns. It's vibey stuff. It's SUT, CQB, some other hard skill stuff, whatever. And that's great. I'm not saying that's bad. However, there still needs to be the gun stuff, right? Especially pages that are gun pages and shooting. Because shooting is the one thing that you're doing that the reason we have the Second Amendment is for guns and shooting them in certain situations. So I feel like we do actually need to focus on guns and shooting a decent amount. And I feel like people are going away from that and they're forgetting how important it is to be good with the tools. So one thing I actually thought about today, I was at the range earlier this afternoon. I did pistol, shot my LMT, and then shot the bolt gun. And so 3-gun. And I came up with a new drill for a YouTube video. It's going to be fun. It's all at 5 meters. It's going to be really fun because it's fast and it's very hard to do. And it's a multi-string course of fire, so you can't cheat it and can't game it. But I thought, you know what? Maybe we need to produce just a ton of drill videos for YouTube this year, depending on how YouTube goes. They're not going to get a lot of views. They're not going to be viral, but it will show people like, hey, T-Rex Arms hasn't forgotten about shooting. Shooting is important, especially if you're a new gun owner, and there are a lot of them. You need to get out and shoot drills like it's 2019. You need to get out and shoot drills like it's 2018. And like if you already are skilled at shooting because you shot in 2019 and now you're focusing on other skills, that's great. But ultimately, there's a ton of new gun owners that need to see quality shooting. So, and I feel like we've kind of, we haven't been doing a whole lot of that recently. So I think we're gonna work on that more this year because it's the one thing that I can contribute to a pretty good level. So I think I'm gonna be focusing on that some this year. A lot of drills. And then I saw we had some guys at the range today, and I was watching them, and they were shooting some of my drills back to back, and that probably was inspiring me a little bit to make more. So, and demo. Lots of demoing. I got demo everything, Go one of those 20-mile runs. I'm gonna go do a 12-mile ruck thing this year. That'll probably be the only long distance thing I do. Well, actually, I take that back. It may not be the only, but it'll be decent. It'll be a couple hours long or something. Should I wait and get the OGL or a laser until I have night vision? Get night vision first. You can use it. You can train with it. You can shoot with red dots. You can observe. You can detect people and things. Get the laser second. Night vision comes first. Long range. Yes. Yeah. It'll be a couple years before I produce quality long-range content. That's not just me training on my own without telling people what to do. Will I ever do a video of a sniper? Yes, I'll get someone else to do that. I stopped at the Unity Tactical booth. It was literally the last booth I visited at the end of SHOT. Great design, by the way. I really, again, like I said before, you can tell a lot by a company by its employees. Unity has some of the best people in their company. They had some new people I hadn't met, but I spent some time talking to them. They're not, and this is what I like about Unity, they're not just hiring people because they're operators, right? Or because they're veterans or covered in tattoos. They're hiring extremely smart, convicted people. This one guy I talked to, he did not look like an operator, right? He kind of looked like, not a Bill Gates, but like a classic nerd you would see in a Dilbert comic, right? And then I start talking to him, and he's an extremely intelligent, I won't say exactly what he does because I don't want to give it away too much, but an extremely intelligent guy who also shoots and trains and focuses so much on data for the shooting and the training that he knows way more than I do. Those are the kinds of people Unity's going out and hiring. They're hiring these extremely intelligent people, not brovet operators that look the part, they get along with because that's like their thing. So I really respect Unity for that. Whether they know it or not, that's what's happening. I mean, just talking to all the different people, they hire engineers and very intelligent people, and I think that's super cool. So again, you can learn a lot about a company by their team, like a lot. So, and you guys know what kinds of companies I'm talking about, the kinds that just have a bunch of like meatheads, and you try to talk to them about the product or whatever, and it's just not, it falls flat. Like that happened to me quite a bit at the show, and it's not great. So, not all meatheads are like that. I'm generalizing a little bit, but you understand what I'm talking about. You get it. You get it. Got a 500 lumen TLR7. It's too bright for me. No, it's not. If anything, that's at the bottom of the spectrum. If it's too bright for you, well, actually, I take that back. Sorry. I should not say that. Maybe your eyesight is really bad, and your eyesight's very sensitive to light because you're like a bat. If that is the case, get a old light. However, if you are more like a more normal type person, 500 is fine. Just don't shine it in a mirror. And even if you do shine it in a mirror, it just so happens that the eyeballs that God gave us adjust like that. So it's not a problem. But the whole like you'll blind yourself, it's crap. Doesn't happen. Especially with like 500 to 1,000 lumen lights. Bright walls, all my walls are like they're all like oyster or seashell colored, all the walls. I never blind myself. Running lights, yeah, your eyes adjust instantly. So, yep, Chris is saying build your skills. I like it. Good. Live stream just timed out because my battery. Did it actually pause completely? Not seeing any new comments. Didn't expect me to pull something off the table. That's really weird. I'm not seeing any new comments now. All right. Well, hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and go. My phone just said it's about dead. That sums up though the SHOT Show experience. All in all, it was really good. I'm sure we'll be going back next year just because there are a lot more reasons for us to go now than there were a few years ago. As far as community-based involvement, spreading influence, ideas, getting products made that you all want, and getting products made that we can sell. So a lot of good reasons to go back, so I'm sure we will. I think Isaac's working on a YouTube video that should cover more, and so you guys should stay tuned for that. I'm not sure if I'm doing anything for that video. But until next time, guys, I will see you all next time.